The doors of the alien medical bay burst open with a loud hiss. 2 strong alien soldiers rushed in, carrying a tall, unconscious human male. His body was covered in dried blood and dirt. His armor was half melted, and parts of his skin were burned. He looked like he had gone through fire, bullets, and a storm all at once. Inside the bay, a group of alien nurses gasped and stepped back. "Is that a human?" One of them whispered. "Yes," said another. "A real one, from Earth." Most aliens had never seen a human up close. They had only heard stories. Some called them monsters, others called them miracles. But everyone agreed on one thing: humans were dangerous. "No one wants to treat him," said a tall, thin doctor. "He might wake up and attack." Everyone stayed quiet, but one alien nurse named Zira stepped forward. "I will clean him," she said in a soft voice. The other nurses looked at her like she was crazy. "Are you sure?" One asked. "He's not like us. He's unpredictable." "I know," Zira said, "but someone has to help him. Look at him. He's dying." Zira was young, but not afraid. Her skin was light blue, and her large golden eyes showed kindness. She believed in care, not fear. Slowly, she walked toward the human and looked at his face. His eyes were closed. His breathing was shallow but steady. She reached out and touched his forehead. "It was hot, fever," she said. "He needs cleaning and treatment fast." With help, Zira moved the human onto a medical table. She removed his armor piece by piece. His body was full of scars, some new, some old. She grabbed the soft cloth and warm healing gel. As she wiped the blood and dirt from his chest, something strange happened. The human's hand twitched under the blanket. Zira froze. She looked around. No one else noticed. She wiped again, his shoulder this time. Again, the hand moved slightly. Her heart beat faster. "Is he waking up?" She asked herself quietly. She leaned over and gently moved the blanket down a bit to reach his side. Suddenly, his whole arm jerked. Zira jumped back, shocked, but his eyes were still closed. Was it just a muscle reaction, or something more? Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward again. She placed her hand on his chest, feeling his heartbeat. It was strong. Too strong for someone barely alive. She leaned in and whispered, "Can you hear me?" To her surprise, his lips moved. They didn't open fully, but a soft sound came out. It wasn't clear. Just a small murmur. Zira moved closer. "What did you say?" Then she heard it clearly. Zira. Her eyes widened in shock. He had said her name. She had never met this human, never spoken to him. How did he know her name? She stepped back, her legs shaking a little. The other nurses noticed her pale face. "Zira, what's wrong?" She didn't answer. Her eyes stayed on the human. She felt cold and warm at the same time, confused, scared, curious. She checked his ID chip. There was no data. Just a blank file. No name, no history, no rank. She whispered, "Who are you?" The human didn't move again. His body was still now. But Zira didn't feel safe anymore. She felt watched, like something inside him was awake and waiting. She turned to the doctor. "We need to scan his brain. He's not normal." The doctor nodded and set up the scan. But as the machine started, it suddenly gave a strange warning. Memory overlap detected. Zira looked at the screen. A map of the brain appeared, but 2 patterns showed. One human, one alien. The doctor frowned. "What is this? This can't be real," Zira whispered. "It is. Because that alien BRIINWAVE ... It's mine." The doctor stared at her. "You mean your mind is inside his?" Zira nodded slowly. "I think we're connected." The room fell into silence. And under the blanket, the human's fingers twitched once more. Zira had touched many patients before, but never like this. As she gently wiped the human's side with a warm cloth, His hand shot up like lightning and grabbed her wrist. She gasped. The cloth slipped from her hand and dropped to the floor. His grip was strong, too strong for someone unconscious. "Let go," she whispered, frozen in place. But the human didn't move again. His eyes stayed closed. His body lay still. Zira looked down at her wrist. His fingers were wrapped around it tightly, but they weren't hurting her. It almost felt protective. The other nurses saw her struggle and started to rush forward. "Is he awake?" One shouted. "No," Zira said quickly, not wanting them to panic. "I think it's a reflex." She tried to pull her hand free again. No luck. His hand was like iron. Then something even stranger happened. Zira felt warmth pass from his palm into her skin. Not heat like a fever. This was different. Gentle, alive, like something inside him was calling out to her. Suddenly, her mind flashed with an image. A child frightened, alone trapped under rubble. A hand reaching out, her own hand. She blinked fast. The image was gone. What was that? She whispered. She looked down at the human again, confused and a little scared. "Who are you?" The human's lips moved. A whisper. No sound, just motion. She leaned in closer to hear. He said the same word as before. Zira. But this time he added something else. "You saved me." Her eyes widened. Her breath caught in her throat. "I didn't," she said. "I've never met you before." She checked the scan again. The brain patterns were still mixed, hers and his. The doctor looked worried. "This isn't just memory sharing," he said. "This is something deeper." "What do you mean?" Zira asked. "It's like your minds are touching," he said. "He's dreaming about you." But not like a dream. More like memory from another life. Zira shook her head. "That's not possible." But then she remembered something strange. As a child, she had once dreamed of a boy, tall, strong human. He had saved her from a fire in that dream. She had forgotten that dream. Until now. Is this the same person? She wondered. Before she could ask more, the lights in the medical bay flickered. A warning alarm buzzed. Unknown power surge near the patient. The doctor said. Zira looked at the human's chest. Something under his skin was glowing. Faint. Golden light. What is that? She asked. The doctor zoomed in with a scanner. It's not metal. It's not alien tech either. It's buried deep in his chest. Suddenly, the glow pulsed like a heartbeat. Zira stepped back. It's alive. The human let go of her wrist. His hand dropped to the bed. He was still again. Zira slowly picked up the cloth from the floor and wiped the sweat from her forehead. She stared at him, breathing fast. This was no normal human. He knew her name, shared her memories, carried a light inside him that reacted to her touch. Something big was happening, something no one understood. And deep inside, Zira could feel it. She was part of it. Zira didn't remember falling asleep, but in the stillness of the med bay, with the lights dim and machines humming softly, she had rested her head near the human's bed, too tired to keep watching him. And then a voice broke through the silence. Not loud, not angry. Just ... Calm, don't leave me again. Zira's eyes snapped open. She sat up fast. Her heart raced. The voice hadn't come from a speaker. It came from the bed. From him. She turned and looked at the human. His eyes were still closed, his body unmoving. But she was sure it was his voice. And more shocking, he had spoken in her language. Not galactic common, not human English, but her native tongue, the private, soft language of her people. Her throat tightened. She whispered, "How do you know that language?" No reply. She moved closer, her fingers hovering just above his hand. He looked peaceful now, his chest rising and falling slowly. But her mind wasn't calm. Zira touched his wrist, lightly. The second her skin brushed his flash. Another vision. She was standing in a storm, holding a child, screaming for help. her world burning. And through the fire, a human soldier ran to her. He picked her up. He whispered her name. It felt real. Too real. Ira pulled her hand back with a gasp. What's happening to me? She stumbled back from the bed, her breathing shaky. The doctor entered the room, checking monitors. His brain activity is rising, he said. Faster than any normal recovery. Zira turned to him. He spoke. The doctor looked up. He what? He said my name. In my language, and he said, "Don't leave me again." The doctor looked concerned. That's not possible. It happened, Zira insisted, and I saw something, a fire, a memory, but it felt like it was mine and his at the same time. The doctor walked to the monitor. This isn't healing. This is bonding. Something deep is connecting you both. Zira asked, "Can a memory be shared before it happens?" The doctor paused. What are you saying? I think I'm seeing a future that hasn't come yet. The room went quiet. Zira looked back at the human. He still hadn't opened his eyes. But she no longer felt like a stranger to Ko. Him. And then his lips moved again. This time the word was clear. Zira. Her name, again, softer, warmer, like a memory being whispered from a dream. She stepped closer. This time, her fingers didn't tremble when they touched his skin. For a brief second, she swore his lips curved into a faint smile. Zira wasn't sure if she was awake or dreaming. She stood in a green field, flowers swaying in the wind, under a sky with two suns, and standing across from her was him, the human, smiling, peaceful, alive. You came back, he said. Zira blinked. Where are we? But before he could answer, the ground cracked. The suns turned black. The sky screamed. Zira gasped and sat up, awake now, truly awake. She was in the med bay again, heart pounding. Her hands were trembling. It wasn't just a dream. It felt too real. Too sharp. She looked at the human lying on the bed. Still unconscious, still glowing. She stood up and activated the deep body scanner. This time, she wanted answers. As the scanner moved over his chest, the screen blinked red. Foreign object detected. What? Is that? She whispered. She zoomed in. Buried near his heart was something not made by humans. Not by any known species. It was a small crystal, shaped like a tear, glowing with ancient light. Symbols danced across its surface, strange and moving like they were alive. Zira reached for her translator device. The machine failed. Language unknown. It said. The crystal pulsed again, stronger this time, and suddenly, her vision went white. Flash. Zira was back in that green field. But this time, the human looked younger. He was holding her hand, and she was smiling. I missed you, she heard herself say. Then the vision shattered again, reality returning like a slap. Zira fell to her knees, dizzy. The doctor rushed in. What happened? She pointed at the screen. There's something inside him. It's not tech. It's alive. The doctor scanned the readings. This object is ancient. Maybe pregalactic. It's sending signals not out, but into his brain. Zira stood shaky. It's not just sending messages. It's creating memories. Memories that never happened. The doctor's face turned pale. Or maybe they will happen. But not yet. Zira looked at the human again, and something inside her shifted. He wasn't just a soldier. He wasn't just injured. He was carrying something powerful. And somehow she was a part of it. The door suddenly slid open. A military officer stepped. In cold eyes, sharp uniform. Is the human awake? He asked. Zira stood in front of the bed. No, he needs more time. The officer narrowed his eyes. He doesn't have time. The council wants him moved, immediately. Zira's hands clenched. She looked down at the man who spoke her name in dreams, who shared her thoughts, who held something impossible in his chest, and she made a decision. No, she said. The officer stepped closer. Excuse me? Zira's voice was firm. He stays here, with me. The officer raised his hand to call security, but then the human stirred. His hand rose weakly and pointed at Zira. The officer stopped. The human's voice was soft but clear. She stays. I trust her. Everyone froze. His eyes were still closed, but he had spoken, and he had chosen. Asterisk. The stars outside the medical station began to vanish. One by one, lights in the sky blinked out, not from clouds or shadows, but from ships. Unknown. Ships. Dark. Silent. Massive. They didn't send warnings. They didn't respond to hails. They simply arrived and surrounded the station like hungry beasts in the night. Inside the med bay, Zira stood frozen, staring at the blinking red lights on the alert screen. Multiple signals incoming, the system repeated. No identification, no codes. Number. Alliance tags. The doctor rushed in. Zira, they're not part of any known fleet. We don't know what they want. Zira turned slowly toward the human lying on the bed. His body was still healing. His chest still glowed faintly from the crystal buried within, but his breathing was steady now. He looked calm. Too calm. Then the coms crackled. A voice came through. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien. It was something older. Return the vessel, the voice said. Return the carrier of the seed. Zira's blood ran cold. Vessel? Seed? They were talking about him. Zira stepped closer to the bed, her body blocking him as if her small frame could protect him from whatever was outside. The human's hand moved slowly and reached toward her. She took it. I won't let them take you, she whispered. Suddenly, his eyes opened fully for the first time. They glowed, not fully human anymore, and yet they were still his eyes, still filled with fear. And something else. Recognition. Double quotes Zira, he whispered. They're not just coming for me. She leaned in, holding her breath. They're coming for you too. Before she could answer, the ship shook violently. A direct hit. Alarms blared. Red lights flashed. Shields down to 40%. The system called out. Breach detected and lower. Hangar. The doctor panicked. They're boarding. Zira looked at the human. Can you walk? He nodded slowly and sat up. He winced but pushed through the pain. He swung his legs over the side of the bed, his body half naked and covered in medical patches. Zira grabbed a cloak from the wall and wrapped it around him. I don't understand, she said as they moved toward the emergency door. Why me? He looked at her with that glowing gaze. Because whatever's inside me, it reacts to you. They fear that. The hallway outside the med bay was chaos. Nurses running, soldiers shouting, lights flickering. Zira helped him down the hall, every step feeling heavier than the last. Suddenly, a young security officer spotted them. They're looking for him, he shouted. They'll kill anyone who gets in the way. Zira didn't slow. We're going to the escape pods. They'll destroy them before you launch. Then we go somewhere they can't follow. The human stopped walking. He turned, looked out a side window, and said something that made Zira's heart sink. There's only one place they won't follow. She followed his eyes. He was looking at the dead planet below, a frozen wasteland no one lived on. You want us to go there? He nodded. I don't think we have a choice. Asterisk. The escape pod hit the ice planet like a falling star. Snow and frozen dust flew in every direction as the small metal craft crashed into the endless white. Inside, everything was silent, except for one voice. Zira sat curled in the corner of the pod, her arms wrapped tightly around the human's unconscious body. But the voice wasn't his. It was hers. Zira, Zira, you are the key. The whisper echoed inside her head, soft, like wind, but impossible to ignore. She looked down at the human. His eyes were closed, his skin pale. The glowing crystal in his chest had grown brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. But it wasn't just light now, it was spreading. Thin golden lines moved under his skin, reaching across his chest, neck, even his arms. His body was changing. No. Zira whispered, "Stay with me, please." She grabbed a thermal blanket and covered him, then opened the survival kit. Her hands moved fast, but her mind was spinning. She had never seen anything like this. His temperature was rising, too hot for a human. His pulse was faster than any medical chart could explain. And still, the voice in her mind whispered, "When the seed awakens, it seeks its match." Zira felt a strange warmth crawl up her spine. She touched her chest. Her skin was glowing too. Not bright, not like his, but faint, just enough to see in the dark. She stared at her hands. No, this isn't happening. But it was. She and the human weren't just bonded by accident. Something ancient had chosen them both. Suddenly, the human's eyes opened, but this time, they were gold. He sat up fast, breathing like he'd been underwater too long. "Where are we?" he asked. Voice deeper now. "The ice planet," Zira said softly. "We crashed." He looked at his hands, then at her. "I feel different," Zira nodded. "You're changing." He reached toward the crystal in his chest. "It's waking up. Do you know what it is?" she asked. He paused. Then he said something that made the air feel colder than the snow outside. "It's not from Earth. It's not from your world either." Zira leaned in. "Then where?" He looked up, eyes burning gold. "It's from something older than both our species. A force that hides in forgotten stars. It sleeps inside people like us, and waits." Zira backed away slightly. "Waits for what?" He stood, slow but steady, like his body was still learning to move again. "It waits for a match. A second spark. Without it, the seed dies." Zira's breath caught. "You mean me?" He nodded. "You didn't just save me, Zira. You completed me." Just then, the escape pod's alarm blinked. Red dot movement detected outside. Zira looked out the small window. Dark shapes were walking across the snow. Tall, shadowed, silent. "They found us," she whispered. The human closed his eyes. "I can stop them now, but it might change me forever." Zira grabbed his hand. "No, we face them together." And for a moment, the pod filled with golden light, as if two stars had touched inside that frozen shell. The snow didn't fall. It stopped frozen midair. Each flake hung motionless, like time had forgotten how to move. Zira stepped out of the pod first, her breath fogging in the icy air. Behind her, the human followed, bare feet sinking into the snow, his body glowing like fire beneath skin. All around them, the dark shapes formed a circle, tall creatures with no faces. Silent, cold, watching. Zira held her ground. The human looked up at the closest one and spoke calmly. "I know what you are." A low, rumbling voice echoed from all directions. "You carry the seed. You are ours. Come with us and become what you were made to be." Zira moved closer to him, her hand brushing his, but the voice continued. "You are evolving. You don't need her. She makes you weak." The human didn't move, but Zira could feel the tension building in him, like a storm just under the surface. "I was nothing before her," he said softly. "She is fragile," the voice hissed. "She will not survive what you are becoming." The human turned to Zira. "They're right," he whispered. "If I go with them, maybe you'll live. They won't chase you anymore." Her eyes filled with tears, but they didn't fall. "Maybe," she said, "but you won't be you anymore. And I didn't come this far to lose you." The glowing lines across his skin flared brighter. And for the first time, his voice roared. "No!" The snow shattered midair, exploding like glass around them. The ancient beings stepped back, but not from fear. From recognition. They had seen this before, long ago. The choice The human turned toward them fully now, holding Zira's hand tight. Choose her, not you, not your power, not your purpose. The ground cracked beneath him. The crystal in his chest burst into golden flame, rising like a wave of light that swept across the frozen land. The dark creatures screamed, not in sound, but in thought, as they were burned away by the bond they couldn't break. And when it ended, silence. Zira opened her eyes. The sky was clear. The creatures were gone, and beside her stood the human, not glowing anymore. Just himself, not still warm, still real. He looked at his hands. The light had faded. You used it all, she said gently. He smiled. Yeah, I did. To save me? He looked at her, really looked. No, to save us.